Relax, trust in the Most High, He got your back. Praying fast when you under attack.
All right, shalom. Welcome to the Shah Divide Perspective. And today I'm going to be talking about dating within the Jewish community, right? And this goes out to all my Jews all over the place, whether European, whether African, whatever persuasion of Jew you are. This video is for you, especially if you're out there and you're single. So I'm just going to be giving some dating advice to all my fellow Torah observant people out there who may feel that the selection, of men and women out there are low or is short, right? So when we think about dating within the Jewish community, obviously, first and foremost, you should look for someone that loves God, has a heart for God, right? So obviously, if you're Torah observant, if you love the Most High, you should look for someone that loves the Torah, right? Who loves the Most High, right? But other than that, let's get into some more practical things. When we talk about dating, right? So when we look at the Jewish culture, when we look at the Israelite culture, when we look at the Torah, right? There's nothing in the Torah that explicitly tells us how to date, right? But we do have oral tradition. And when we look at the oral tradition, the Talmud talks a lot about dating, right? It talks about how a man and a woman is forbidden to marry until the man finds a woman, meets her, and then the woman has favor in his eyes. So now, obviously, arranged marriages is a thing in our culture, but also there's something in the Talmud that says that, the woman and the man needs to build a relationship with each other. And if the man finds favor with the woman, then they can proceed. And it also says that a woman should not make a decision to marry a man if she's not mature enough to handle the situation. So dating boils down to maturity. It does boil down to maturity, first and foremost. Because if you're a man that's not well put together, and not necessarily in the sense of financially, but let's say you're not where you are, you're not where you need to be spiritually, you're not where you need to be physically, you're not where you need to be mentally, then it's probably best if you do not date. So the first rule when it comes to dating is that you don't go out begging and seeking for a spouse. The first rule of dating is this. It's simple. Work on self-improvement, work on growing in your relationship with God. And then your suitable mate will come. And I always believe this, is that if you continuously press towards the mark, if you're continuously working towards getting your life right with the Most High and growing in a personal relationship with Yah through Yeshua, and you allow your character to grow and you become spiritually stable, you become mentally stable, you become physically stable, then the Most High will bring your soulmate to you. And I truly believe that. And I think a lot of times what happens is we get in trouble with this, is that we're not where we need to be spiritually. We're not where we need to be physically. We're not where we need to be financially. We're not where we need to be in all these different areas. And then we go looking for a mate when we're not ready to be a husband or we're not ready to be a wife. And I think that's the biggest problem in dating today, is that there's too many people trying to fulfill their happiness through other people, or fulfill their happiness with trying to keep up with the Joneses. Because I see my friends getting married. I see my siblings getting married. I see this person getting married. I see this person getting married. Man, I want that too. And that's all great. It's good to want marriage, but you have to have self-awareness to know, where are you at? Are you ready to be married? So that's the most important thing, is that when we think about dating, we shouldn't go forcefully looking for someone. We shouldn't force the issue of getting married. We shouldn't be impatient when it comes to being married, because at the end of the day, this is the most important decision that you'll ever make in your life, is finding your suitable mate. So we shouldn't rush into marriage. We shouldn't rush into relationships, because when we rush into them and we're pressing the issue, a lot of times we'll miss red flags and then we'll end up in something that we shouldn't be in, right? So the first step in dating, if you're a Torah observant person or even any spiritual system, is that you have to work on self. And after you work on self, the Most High will present the person for you. And so here's another aspect. I know there's a lot of believers out there that are, you feel like you're in areas where you're not around a lot of other believers, right? So you might not have a synagogue around you. You might not have a congregation around you. You might not have a building where you congregate with other believers around you. And I know that's the case, especially for a lot of African American Jews. We don't have a whole lot of, places to meet at. So I know that that can be a problem because you're around a lot of secular people and a lot of people that don't believe the book. So it's like, man, how am I going to find a wife? There's nobody out there that believes how I believe. And so with that, what I say is stay patient. Try your best to be around like-minded people. Try looking up different congregations. Maybe you can go out of town and visit a congregation when you go out of town, and for Shabbat, let's say you live in Memphis and you want to, you visit Atlanta, there's some congregations out there in Atlanta. Go visit some congregations out there in Atlanta and connect with people, right? And that could be something you can do. Sometimes it just takes patience and building friendships, because a lot of times when we think about dating, we try to be romantic first before we're friends. So that's another thing about dating, is that you should want to become friends with someone first and then be romantically involved later. I think that's a big problem too, is a lot of times we don't date to marry, we date to have fun. And we, instead of trying to get to know people and trying to be friends first and building a friendship, we get caught in lust and premarital sex and all the things that the Torah that are looked down upon. Sometimes your mate may not be in the way yet. Your mate may be in their transition to the way. So these are just different pointers. These are just different things to look forward to when it comes to dating as a Jew, dating as an Israelite. I know it's tough, and I know sometimes we feel like, time's running out, or I want a family, I want a big family, I want kids, I want this, I don't want to miss out on this. But I'm telling you, do not rush the process. Do not get into something that you have no business getting into, right? Because once again, what you seek is what you will get. I'm saying it again. What you seek is what you'll get. So if you're seeking in places that are not godly, if you're seeking people to have fun with, if you're seeking a man or a woman that's just got good looks, if you're seeking, people that are not godly, guess what? You will get someone that's not godly. You'll get someone that's superficial. You'll get someone that's this and that's that. That's not for you. So it depends what you're seeking, right? Because once again, when we look at even in the Mishnah tells us that a man should not look for a woman based on her beauty, based on her grace. Those things are vain. But it's said that a man should look for a woman that's fearful of God. You got to look for someone that's fearful of God. So do not rush the process, because someone can seem fearful of God, but then you get into a relationship, it's like, whoa, you're completely different than when I first met you. So it's all based on what you're seeking while you're dating. That's why it's good to date to marry, not to casually date. Because when you casually date, you're gonna miss out on certain red flags. I'm telling you, because you're in the honeymoon phase, and if you're physically engaged with someone, you're going to be blinded by lust. I'm telling you, it happens over and over again in relationships. So you have to put the physical stuff aside, get to know the person. That way, you know if that person is fearful of God or not. And if they're not, wait out on a marriage. Maybe they're on their way and they're not there yet, but don't get into a marriage with someone that's not on the same wavelength as you. Because then if they never come to the way, you're married, now you have a miserable marriage, now you have kids that got one person believing this and one person believing that. It's just nasty. So do not rush the process. You cannot rush the process, right? That way you can avoid hardships later in life. All right. We want to be a part of a healthy, successful, Torah observant family. Right. That's what we're all seeking and we're all looking for, right? I wanted to kill the misnomer that dating is not a Jewish thing. Yes, dating is something that we do, but it's about godly dating. It's not about promiscuous dating. See, the way the Western world dates, that's not how a Jew should date. The casual dating, I'm just experiencing life, trying to figure out what I want. That's not what dating looks like. Dating should look like, okay, I'm mature enough in my faith. Now let me go look for someone else that's just as mature as me, and let's come together. That's dating, godly dating, where you're trying to meet someone to get to know them, to get to grow in God with them, and then you get married, and then the physical stuff happens. You should leave that physical stuff after marriage, right? The physical stuff always taints stuff. So you should always look to grow in God with someone, right? Leave the physical stuff behind, right? And so this is just my advice to all my Jews out there that are still looking for a suitable mate. All my Jews out there that are still, worried about if they'll ever get married, if they ever find anybody. Just be patient. Continue to connect with other believers via social media, whether it's visiting synagogues, visiting congregations. Continue to be patient. Continue to seek God. Continue to grow in God. And I'm telling you, your mate will come. But allow God to grow in you. Build your relationship with the Most High. Continue to get into your word. Continue to grow in character. Continue to grow as a man, as a woman. Continue to grow in the character of Yahshua HaMashiach. I'm telling you, stay patient. Continue to build connections. Build friendships. Be be accessible. That's another thing. Be accessible, and the Most High bless you. The Most High bless all His people that are obedient to His word. So this is just some few tips that I have for you as far as dating. I hope this was informative. This has been a shot of our perspective. Peace, shalom, ahala.